out for Augustino's. Great food for a great time.
Augie Mix the Pass. It's one of his delicious mammoth sandwiches. Augie cooks everything up for the big appetite, like their party-sized super subs and deli sandwiches. Treat your team to the best. Tackle one of Augustino's great pizzas with all the fixings. So team up with the winner, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, on the corner of Schmally and St. Charles Road in Carroll Stream.
Who's got the best deli in the West?
Augustino's!
Look, you gotta help me. My baby's dying.
All right, sir. We're on our way.
Wrench. Screwdriver.
Where?
Scotch, we're just in time.
Cavelli's A1 service. Randall and Galena in Aurora.
From Memorial Field in Elgin, Jones Intercable Television presents the 7-1 Elgin Maroons hosting the 7-1 Larkin Royals in the battle for the Upstate Eight Championship, as well as the traditional town jug. Hello everyone, I'm Bob Erzik alongside Larkin legend Ray Haley. And what more can you say about this matchup? Both teams have already clinched playoff spots, but the winner tonight takes home the conference title, as well as the much sought after town jug. Larkin currently holds the jug after winning last year's game 14-7, and the Royals also hold a 14-13 advantage in the series, dating all the way back to 1962. In fact, the same year that Hall of Fame coach Ray Haley took over at Larkin. And Ray, I imagine that it must seem a little strange tonight not being on the sidelines for this crosstown rivalry after you decided to hang up the whistle for good, so to speak.
Well, Bob, it's the first time in 35 years I haven't been coaching on this Friday night, and certainly I do miss it. Coaching has always been a great love of mine, and I miss being with the kids. I don't necessarily miss all the night work that I had and that type of thing, but this is what it's all about. It's a great game, two evenly matched teams, and they worked hard all year, and I think we're going to be in for a great show tonight.
And Ray, you left Larkin High School with such a great team. In the wings over here, Larkin, they've only had one loss this year. They could easily be undefeated except for that tough loss at St. Charles, and the program definitely looks like it's not on the way up. It's already there.
Yeah. Well, they're an excellent bunch, and that weighed heavily on my decision to retire. This group, I think, has only lost 3 games in their careers. Last year, we lost 2 that we played. We lost 2 by our strike. But in the first game in the conference after our strike, we lost, and then the only other game we lost was to Streamwood. So they're an excellent group, and there's a good nucleus there, and I think we're going to see a great team play. And I think that I've seen Elgin play twice this year, and they're one of the quickest teams I've seen the Upstate 8 in years, and they're well balanced. They got 3 backs in the backfield that average something like 6.7, and I think the key is going to be to not make the turnover and give them the ball too often, because they're explosive and an excellent football team.
They definitely are at that. And the head man at Elgin, the man that runs the show for the Elgin Maroons, a guy that you've had contact with over the last few years, Coach Dick Stevens. In his 12 seasons at Elgin, he has an overall mark of 70 wins, 51 losses, and 2 ties. In his career in 30 years of coaching, 157 wins, 104 losses, and 4 ties. And in this series, he is 5-6. Bob Krieger, on the other hand, he's a first-year coach at Larkin High School. He comes in, but of course, a 7-1 record, and that's happened all this year. And I know you know a little bit about Coach Krieger, Ray.
Bob's an excellent coach, and my daughter Jennifer teaches out at Streamwood, and she always had excellent things to say about Bob. Thought he was a whale of a coach, and of course, in competing against Streamwood, he did a fine job with their defensive unit. And he's an excellent coach, and he's a hard worker, and I'm real pleased. He's done a super job this year, and so is Dick Stevens. Dick does an awfully good job. He has a small team, but they're quick, and he utilizes them very well. So we've got two fine coach teams here. We have excellent speed at the wide receivers and in the corners. We've got excellent balance in the backfield. Kendrick Thomas, a junior, has come up from the junior sophomore team, I guess, last year, and just done an outstanding job. And so we've got key players that are going to play a big part in this game, and it could come down to a break like a fumble or the kicking game, I think, to decide the winner.
A lot of times that's the case when you have two great defensive teams, but we had a chance to talk with both coaches earlier this week, Ray, of course, and we had a chance to get their comments on tonight's big rivalry.
They use the quick pitch to stretch you, and they use the quickness there, and they use the quickness of their two guards and trapping game to create some openings up the middle, which definitely is a problem for any defense, including ours. So we're going to have to work very, very hard this week to make those reads and understand where they're coming from and how and step up there and make the tackle.
They got to have a lot of blocking up front. They get some good blocking from Hornick and their tight end, number 80. They've done a good job on their cross blocking on the power, and their big back, I forget his name, 41, Gosti, and he does a good job kicking out. So Hendrick's a good back, but nobody runs without blocking. And we have some backs too, Washington and Carrington and Walker, and they can do just as good a job.
When you look at the numbers, Elgin has a little bit of a stronger offense, but Larkin lately has been really coming on. They've scored 107 points in the last 4 games, and it seems like Rolando has really started to understand that system. He struggled in the beginning, but they've put up a lot of points in the last 4 weeks.
Well, it takes time, Bob, to put in an offense, and a lot of people don't realize it. You just don't come in regardless of how good kids are and change everything. Your way of playing, calling the plays is different. Your patterns are different, and blocking schemes, and that takes time to adjust to. And these are just 16, 17-year-old kids. It's not a pro team, and they don't have that kind of experience. So it does take time, and they've improved as the season's gone on, as you would hope they would, and they've done an outstanding job here at the end of the year.
We talked a little bit about some of the keys earlier in the ball game, earlier in the pregame, I should say, Ray. I think for Elgin, when you talk about it in their situation, they have to stop the power game that Larkin poses with its running attack. They've got great runners back there. They also want to force Rolando to pass. As we talked a little bit about it, he struggled earlier in the year, but he's doing a nice job at this point. They also have a very strong ground game. They want to get that in gear tonight. Elgin, of course, with their running backs, the speed that they have. They also want to get a couple of big plays, at least, out of this, because I don't think the teams are going to really march up and down the field.
No, I wouldn't expect that at all. I think the scoring is going to come quickly when it comes. The big thing, they're such a balanced team, Elgin. In the 2 games that I saw them play, each back is capable of breaking it. They've got excellent speed, but that speed carries over to the defense as well. And they're very quick. You have to hit the hole quickly. Their wideouts are covered well by Elgin's corners, so they've got tremendous speed. So speed helps you both ways, and I think that's going to be a big thing in this ball game.
I think in Larkin's case, Ray, when you look at it, they've got to stop the run, that speed that Elgin has. They got to contain Stafford. He is so quick at the quarterback spot. He can break a big play anytime. They want to control the football, keep it out of Elgin's hands, and keep him away from scoring. And then they want to get a big game from Mike Rolando. We talked about that. He's had a few in the past few games.
Well, I think that's a key. I don't think that Elgin can have the ball all game and stay with them. They're very quick. But I think that Larkin's got the defensive people that can keep the ball away from them and not let them have the ball to go down the field. I suspect that the plays are going to be broke. Are going to be the long runs.
Speaking of defense, there you see it for Elgin. They give up 102 on the ground each game, 56 through the air for a total of 158. And they've only given up 59 points this season, only 52 in conference. That's very impressive, isn't it, Ray?
Well, their quickness helps them there. There's no question about it. It's hard to pass against them. They cover people well. and they're so quick off the ball that they just don't allow those holes to stay open very long.
On the other hand, for the Royals, Ray, they give up 120 yards a game on the ground, 66 through the air, 188 total, and they've only given up 62 this season, 54 in conference.
Well, they're similar in that respect. I think that Larkin's an excellent defensive team. They've got more size, and perhaps they can wear Elgin down. I don't know. It'll be a tough job, but I think that they're just going to have to keep pounding Elgin defensively, and then when they get on offense, control the ball.
Looking at the two quarterbacks, Ray, for Elgin, Charles Stafford's had a great year, 33 for 72, 661 yards, 5 TDs, 2 interceptions. On the other hand, Rolando, 44 for 121, 708 yards. He's thrown 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions as well.
Well, they're even up in the passing pretty much. I think, of course, Rolando doesn't run the ball, and Stafford is a tremendous runner. I think the option is going to be a big play for him, and I think that they'll have to watch that closely.
And there you see the rushing leaders for each team. For Elgin, Carrington has rushed it 65 times for 448 yards at a 6.8 clip. Ronnie Washington, he's their leading rusher at 656 yards, 6.4 clip. Larkin, they've got the big fullback, and Jerome Gostin, he averages 4.5 yards a carry. And, of course, Kendrick Thomas, 1,004 yards this season, 13 touchdowns.
Well, Larkin's here again is more a single back offense. They've got a tailback, and Gostin does a lot of the blocking for him. And Kendall Thomas is one of the best backs that Larkin's had in a long time, and he's capable of going all the way. I've been really impressed in the games I've seen him play. He can break at any time, but Elgin's got 3 kids that are averaging 6.5 or 6.7, something like that, and so where they've got 3 to stop, Larkin has. Elgin's got perhaps Kendall Thomas and the pass.
Okay, there you just saw the Elgin offense. Right now, there you see Larkin's defense. We'll run it down for you. Cargill and Hornick are the defensive tackles, along with Jake Pritchett and Ray Pena. The 3 linebackers, Jim Schneider, Rick Short, and Chris Heiser. The defensive backs are Javon Stennis, Chris Brown, along with Matt Rosper, and, of course, Kendrick Thomas, who does a great job playing 2 ways. We talked about him both on offense and defense. He's got great hands back there and, of course, great speed. On offense for Larkin, Mark Rolando's a quarterback. We mentioned him. Kendrick Thomas, over 1,000 yards this year, 13 touchdowns. The fullback, Jerome Gostin, there was a question whether he was going to play. He had a hip pointer, but he's in there. Chris Brown, great speed at the wide receiver spot, number 25. Jim Snyder's the other flanker. He was expected to be as a starting running back this year, but Kendrick Thomas took his starting spot. The tight end's number 80, Tim Lickner. The center's Jake Pritchett. John Petchow and Casey Fellows are the 2 guards. The 2 tackles, 79, Tim Hughes, and Mark Hornick, who is a Division I candidate with that great size and speed of his, and a lot of big Division I schools looking at him. Ray, I know you know about that.
Well, he got an awful lot of mail. He's on their list, and he's an excellent prospect, and I think that he has an excellent opportunity to get a scholarship.
And there you see the Maroons defense, the 2 defensive ends, Rob Getz and Jason Aikman, the 2 tackles, Tom Lakowitz and Chris Van Stone. The nose guard is Andy Poison, the 3 linebackers, Rob Walker, Paul Pennington, and Ron Washington. The defensive backs, LaBrian Carrington, Charles Stafford, and Chris Kotlinski, he is just a junior, is the safety. There you see the conference standings. Our 2 teams tonight, Elgin and Larkin on top with 5-1 records in the conference, 7-1 overall. And Ray, you know that these 2 teams have already clinched a playoff spot, and there's a pretty decent chance that, who knows, they may meet in the second round.
Well, it's a possibility. I don't think they like to see, the IHSA likes to see 2 or 3 teams in one conference get terribly far. But there's a possibility that they could meet in the second or third game, I would think.
There is a pretty good possibility as that. 2 great teams. The starters are being introduced. You've already gotten them. We'll be back shortly with first half action of Elgin versus Larkin shortly on Jones Intercable's Game of the Week. Stay tuned. I'm Bob Urson.
And I'm Joe Snydoff.
If you like high school sports, and Sports Week is your local ticket to exciting sports action.
Step in each week for fast-paced, hard-hitting highlights, interviews, and features on players and teams in your area.
You say you missed a big game this week? Well, Sports Week didn't. We've got all the pad-popping, ball-spiking highlights plus previews from the weekend ahead.
If you breathe local sports, then Sports Week is your life source. Sports Week, catch it on Thursday nights at 7.
And then again on Friday nights at 7 on Jones Intercable TV.
Look, you gotta help me. My baby's dying.
All right, sir. We're on our way.
screwdriver.
Where?
You got to it just in time.
Cavelli's A1 service. Randall Galena in Aurora.
And serves the entire Chicagoland area. Why not call for a free estimate? Cedar Rustic Fencing, built to last.
Everybody in?
Every Friday, the McFarland family takes off. They've been going back to the same place for years now. Maybe it's because they always discover something new and different. Or because all the delicious five-star meats, even the produce, is guaranteed fresh. But it's altogether possible they come for the hundreds of bag-filling prices they find every week. And that's pretty important to the McFarlands. Eagle, the sensible supermarket.
All right, welcome back to Memorial Field, where we are just about ready for the opening kickoff on Jones Intercable TV as Elgin gets ready to take on Larkin for the traditional town jug. Bob Erzik alongside Larkin legend Ray Haley. This is going to be a great ball game. We've got two of the best offenses and defenses in the Upstate 8 Conference, and this is for an Upstate 8 championship. And of course, that big prize, Ray, the town jug that the winner gets to take home each time.
Well, there's a lot of pride in town, and obviously you'd rather have that in your trophy case than have it be in the other schools. But we've got two fine teams here, and they've had great years. They're great kids. Their coaches work hard, and it's too bad that all the pressure is put on this one game, because they're going to be winners regardless of whether they win it or lose.
Kendrick Thomas with the big opening boot. Charles Stafford takes it on his 5. He's veering to the far side, and he slips and falls down at about the 21-yard line. So Elgin in their maroon and white will take over in their own territory on the 21, as they will try to score into the south end zone. On the other hand, Larkin in their gray, white, blue, and red uniforms, they will defend that end zone as both teams come out. We talked about the offense as Charles Stafford runs the show for Elgin High School. He's the transfer from the Los Angeles area, and he's done a tremendous job this year, both on offense and defense. He has thrown for almost 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. And on the defensive side, Ray, he's done a great job as well. 7 interceptions. He's taken 2 back for touchdowns. Pro set backfield. Here's the give. Ronnie Washington tripped up at about the 22-yard line, a pickup of maybe 1 yard. And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 9 situation.
Chris Heiser came in there and filled real quickly on the outside. I think that'll be a key. He's a tough kid, and he closed that hole and got him for a 1 yard loss. I think that's what they're going to have to do.
It'll bring up a 2nd and 9 situation early on first quarter. We are scoreless. Both teams coming in with 7-1 records, 5-1 in the conference. Larkin has won 5 straight, and they have great momentum on their side. Tight end Pat Lane in motion, and the flags go down, and that might be an illegal motion on Elgin there. Let's see what the call is first of all before we make the judgment.
Right tackle for Larkin jump.
How about that? So it's an offside call against Larkin. That's going to push the football up 5 yards. And it brings up a nice situation for Elgin instead. Instead of 2nd and 9, it's now 2nd and 4. They have receivers out to the left and right side, running backs into pro set. Stafford barks out the signals. Lane in motion near side. Here's the give. Carrington caught right in the backfield. No pickup there. Great penetration from Larkin. It looked like it was Ray Pena who got in there.
Ray Pena is an excellent football player. Last year he had problems with grades, and he was eligible for the wrestling team. Tremendous wrestler, a very quick, aggressive kid. Not real big, but he has the speed, and he's done an outstanding job for Bob's team.
And it was a loss of 3 yards, so it's now a 3rd and 7 situation for the Elgin Maroons. It's the first drive of the ball game. Stafford has a man looking this way for Kilgore, and it's incomplete at about the 45-yard line. Kendrick Thomas on the coverage down there along with Chris Brown, and it's going to bring up a 4th and 7, and Elgin will have to punt on his first series.
Should give Larkin good field position.
Paul Pennington is the punter for Elgin. Last week, a bad snap from center, and Pennington was tackled at his own 2-yard line against St. Charles, and it cost him a touchdown. Let's see if they have some problems here. A little bit low, and Paul gets it up high, kick, but short. And it's going to bounce at the 45, and it takes a Larkin bounce to about the 33 before it's covered over there by Ronnie Washington. So it's going to be great field position for Larkin. 1st and 10 at the 43 in Elgin territory.
I don't think the wind was a factor on that kick. It seemed like he just got his toe up on it and he didn't get it too far, but I don't believe the wind was what held it back.
The wind looks like it's blowing a little bit out of the, possibly the southeast, and maybe at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Not much of a factor. The temperature is expected to get in the low 40s tonight. So we'll have to see if the receivers have rock hands or soft hands tonight. Mike Rolando barking out the signals. He's got a power I formation backfield. Gives Kendrick Thomas off the right side. He's got a big hole. He's through the middle. He's going to go in the end zone. Oh, he's caught right at the 1-yard line. It looked like he was going to go, Ray. A 41-yard pickup. And on the first play, first play off the right tackle spot. That's right behind Mark Hornick. And a pickup of actually 39 yards. Wow, what a big play that was.
It was a great run.
Whew. So just like that, first play, Ray, and Larkin strikes. I thought he was in the end zone with that tremendous speed, but he was caught from behind by, I think, Ronnie Washington.
Elgin was in the 53 defense that time, and they broke off tackle, cut it back up the center.
Power I formation once again. Here's the give. Thomas again stacked up there and pushed back by a whole host of tacklers, including Javon Stennis. And now a marker goes down, and Thomas drew a personal foul, it looks like, Ray, as the play was called dead, and he just kept running with it, and someone threw him down.
Well, I think he got a face mask. I think after the play was over, he grabbed his face mask, it looked like.
It goes against Elgin. So, not a good beginning here for the Maroons. We talked about how Larkin has a 5-game winning streak coming into this ball game. They've got tremendous momentum going, while on the other hand, Elgin had won its first 6 ball games before losing to Lake Park, a big, strong team, and they won last week against St. Charles, not convincingly, and obviously coming into this game, you'd have to say the Royals had the momentum. Full house backfield, 3 men back there. Here's the give. Thomas over the right side. He's in the end zone for a touchdown.
They were in a power I. Power I right, and they ran over Hornick again.
And he's a big guy at 255 pounds, and Larkin's on top, 6-0 early on with 8:32 left to go in the first quarter after Kendrick Thomas takes it in from the 1. And you know, Ray, Thomas, that's his 14th touchdown this year, and he has won in every single ball game this year. That's pretty impressive.
That's great. Well, he's been a real pleasant surprise. I'll tell you, I don't think anyone could have conceived that he was going to have this type of year.
Enrico LaPrairie's extra point is up, and it's good. Took that Todd Sinko instead with the extra point, so it's still 7-0. Either way, it went through the uprights, so our score is 7-0 with 8:32 left to go in the first quarter. And Ray, I imagine this is, has to be a tremendous start for Larkin after coming into this game, a big ball game, and then first play, the big 41-yard run from Thomas, and then the touchdown, and right away, just like that, they're on top.
Well, you always like to break out on top. Field position is such an important part. You hear coaches say this all the time. They have to have good field position. But when you get the ball in the 33, that's about as good as you're going to start the game with, and that makes a big difference. If you can get good field position, you have the opportunities, because the other team's in the 3-down zone, and they run 3 plays and kick. And when you're starting out on 33, you've got 4 yards to go, 4 downs to get your 10 yards.
So Kendrick Thomas, who scored the touchdown, will kick it off for the Royals from the 40. Either way, win or lose, these two teams will be in the playoffs starting on Wednesday. It's a high kick taken by LaBrian Carrington. He drops it at the 1. He's going to veer to the near side. Cuts back up the middle, fumbles the football. It's loose, but Elgin recovers it. A big hit on LaBrian Carrington. He coughed up the football, but Elgin jumped back on it at the 20. Charles Stafford, Johnny on the spot, picked that football up. And luckily for that, because if Larkin gets that football, look out. So Elgin will take over 1st and 10 from their own 21-yard line. Down 7-0. Larkin has jumped out on top early. Running backs in the pro set. Over the middle, it's incomplete. They were looking for Ronnie Washington, but Stafford overthrew him. If he threw it a little longer, that probably would have been picked off, but it just goes as an incomplete pass, brings up a 2nd and 10 from the 21. Elgin runs the football over 80% of the time out of their split veer offense, and Ray, this Larkin team has switched off to a different style of offense from when you were coaching. You would coach the wishbone, and right now this year they go to the power I.
Well, they throw the ball a lot more than we did. His philosophy is somewhat different, and he believes in throwing the ball a lot, and so that's a better formation to throw it from.
And Stafford throwing on a 3-step drop. It's incomplete. It looked like somebody got a hand on the football at the line of scrimmage. He was looking for Boulay Dyranicone at about the 25-yard line. It was tipped and it goes incomplete, so it's now 3rd and 10. This is not a situation that Elgin likes, Ray, because they love to run the football, and then when they get into passing situations, it's definitely not to their advantage.
Well, I think you're exactly right, Bob. I think that probably their game plan is not to throw the ball an awful lot. They'd like to run it, but they've had such poor field position so far. They're trying to loosen them up so they can run the ball.
And Larkin's defense has been excellent so far. This is the 2nd series for Elgin. It was first one went 3 plays and out. Here's Stafford. He's being rushed. He's trying to run the football. He's going to be strung out, knocked out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Not much yardage there. Looked like Rick Short. No, check that. Kendrick Thomas in there on the tackle. And there was no gain there. So Elgin again will have to punt from deep in their own territory. And someone is down hurt. That looks like possibly Brian Groth for... no, that's not Groth. It might be Heiser, I think. Yep,
well,
that's Chris Heiser.
Chris Heiser. Well, he'd be a tremendous loss if he's not able to continue, because he's really a tough kid. He played offense for us last year, and I think he's primarily a defensive player at linebacker this year, but he's really a good kid and really a tough hitter.
Heiser is still down there looking him over back there. Elgin will be facing a 4th down punting situation, 4th and 9 from the 22. It's their 2nd time they've had the football, and they had to punt it the first time as well, as Larkin took advantage of some great field position as Kendrick Thomas rushed it in from the 1-yard line after racing 41 yards on his first carry. And Larkin has a 7-0 lead. Yeah, he's okay. He's going off the field, walking it off. So good news there for Larkin fans. So Pennington standing at his own 10-yard line, getting ready to punt for the Maroons. 2 safeties back at about the 45 for the Royals. A short kick again. It's going to bounce at the 45. Takes a good bounce. Thomas fields it. Goes up the middle before being taken down by a host of Maroons tacklers at about the 46-yard line in Elgin territory. So Ray, once again, great field position for the Royals.
You couldn't ask for better.
They'll take it over at the 46. Elgin's going to have to come up here with a stand, because if they fall behind 2 touchdowns in a hurry, that will not be good at all. Because they're not a team, Ray, I think that's geared for coming back, because they have to rely so much on their running game. And if they're forced to pass the football, I still think it's too early for Coach Stevens to scrap it if they go down by a couple of touchdowns, but you never know.
Well, they're going to have to play their game. They haven't had the field position to open up at all. And you have a lot more options when you're in a position that Larkin is right now, other than the way Elgin has been the first 2 possessions.
And a flag goes down. We'll have to see what the call here is before the play could even be snapped. It's going to go against Larkin. They're moving it backward. Too much time, as Mike Rolando, the quarterback, took a little too much time in calling out the play. That's going to push the football back into Larkin territory at about the 48, bring up a 1st and 15 situation. Mike Rolando had a great game last week as Larkin, coming off a tremendous performance at DeKalb, they won it 33-3, a ball game in which Rolando went 11 of 14 for 190 yards. He threw 3 touchdown passes and completed his last 9 straight, so he is learning under that system. The gives to the fullback, not much yardage there, maybe a yard.
They're trying to run the right side of the line here behind Hornet.
There's Jimmy Schneider. He got possibly a yard. They're going to bring up a 2nd and 14 situation with about 6:45 left to go in the first quarter. Our score is Larkin 7, Elgin nothing. This Elgin team hasn't had very much success against Larkin in the past few years. Actually, Paul Pennington is the only player on that Elgin team that has picked up a win against the Larkin team. Thomas tripped up after he picks up maybe 3. He gets it into Elgin territory to about possibly the 48-yard line. A pickup of maybe 3. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 11 situation now. Definitely a passing down, Ray.
They put Chris Heiser at a wing that time. He cracked back in on a double team on the tackle, and they're kicking the end out and running off tackle. And that's the way they've been making their yardage on the right side.
6 minutes ago, first quarter. Receiver to the near and far side. One man in the backfield, Rolando passing. He's got a blitz coming on. He avoided Pennington. Got rid of the football, incomplete, out of bounds. At about the 30-yard line, in on the coverage over there was Chris Kotlinski.
They had 3 receivers on the right side of the line. He rolled out to the right and flooded the zone and tried to hit underneath.
They were looking for Rick Short, the tight end, but the ball was thrown out of bounds. So Larkin will be forced to punt, facing a 4th and 11 situation at the 48-yard line. And a good punt from here could pin Elgin again deep in their own territory. Kendrick Thomas standing at his own 40. He's the punter, the kicker, the running back on this team, the main running back. And a low kick. And it's taken by Washington at the 25-yard line. Gets it up to about the 31 before he's taken down right there. So Elgin will start with much better field position than they've had early on in this ball game with a 1st and 10 from the 32. Just a 28-yard punt there from Kendrick Thomas. It actually sailed maybe 5 yards in the air, Ray, and then bounced another 30 or so.
I don't believe it ever got over about 6-7 feet high.
Could have hit a number of players on the way down the field. Scott Steinhofer is the receiver to the near side for Elgin. They have running backs in the pro set. Here's the give. Washington sweeping near side. He's got some yardage in front of him. Still on his feet. He's at the 50 before being knocked down at the 47-yard line in Larkin territory. Kendrick Thomas in there on the tackle, but not before a pickup of 21 yards for Ron Washington. And Ray, there you saw the great speed from that backfield.
Well, they get good field position. They have more options. They'll be a tough team. This is going to be a tough game.
They're going to say Washington stepped out at his own 48 while he was making the turn, so actually it's only a pickup of 17 yards, but it's still a great game for Elgin, as maybe they can parlay that into a little bit of momentum. Clock has stopped with 5:08 left to go in the first quarter. You'll see a lot of running from these two teams. Larkin likes to mix it up a little bit more, as Elgin runs the football about 80% of their plays. One receiver out to the far side. Stafford underneath center. Here's the give. Carrington this time off the left side. No yardage there. Maybe got to the midfield marker. Ray Pena in there on the tackle. And Ray, you talked about Pena before. He's a great wrestler. He's super fast. He says he's like a cat out there. He's got great balance, great strength from all the lifting and running he does out there. And you saw him there make the tackle in the backfield.
He is an excellent football player. Elgin's gone to 2 tight ends and a wide out, which gives them better running, and they can pick up some of the stunts. Now, Larkin stunts a lot, and part of that's to neutralize people like Ray Pena and come straight at him. There's a trap over the center.
It's Washington. He gets it into Larkin territory at the 45, a pickup of another 5 yards. It'll bring up a 3rd and 4 situation right now. Ray, you talked about the stunting that Larkin defense likes to do. They'd like to kind of confuse the offensive line a little bit. I guess it's Coach Krieger took that out of Michigan State's playbook.
Michigan State's offense, our defense, they pinch over the center, and a lot of teams would run right at them, and I think that's probably the best way to neutralize the small people. That was a trap over the center, and they blocked down on 50, and that's Jake Pritchard, and here they go. They got people out in front.
Carrington's got the first down and more, down to the 32-yard line, a pickup of 12 yards, and Elgin's offense is moving on its 3rd series as they are now getting deeper and deeper into Larkin territory. This is their best penetration of the night.
Now that neutralizes stunts too, because they're outside it before you can stunt. So they were way wide on the pitch, and it was very effective. He had pulled a tackle, and they had 2 people leading the play.
As Ray mentioned, Elgin is going with the double tight end offense with Clippard and Lane, the 2 tight ends. They've got 2 men in the backfield, just 1 wide receiver. Here's Carrington. He busted up the middle. He gets down to about the 27. A pickup of another 5 yards, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and 5.
Whenever you establish the outside game, that was a trap. Right guard trapped in the middle, and Elgin's an excellent trapping team. They've made an awful lot of yards in the games that I've seen this year, right up the center on traps, and then to the wide part of the field.
Well, they average 220 yards on the ground per game, just about 95 through the air. So they are a very prolific running team. Again, 1 wide receiver to the far side. That's Jake Kilgore. 2 running backs in the backfield. This time it's Washington right side, big hole. He's at the 20, tries to slip another tackler, can't do it as Javon Stennis saved the touchdown at about the 17-yard line. And another nice pickup of about 13, 14 yards and another first down. Big play there, huh, Ray?
It was a big play. In a four-man defensive front, unless your linebackers are stunning into the over the tackles, you've got a natural hole there. If you block down, you get there quickly, and then Elgin's line is capable of moving quickly, then there's a natural hole there, and it looks like they're trying to exploit that at this point.
And Elgin has taken a timeout on the field. They want to make sure they've got their signal straight and punch the football into the end zone as they trail it 7-0. With 2:46 left to go in the first quarter in this battle for first place in the Upstate 8. Of course, we mentioned the winner and loser both go to the playoffs. They have clinched a playoff spot, each with at least 7 victories. But the winner of this one gets the conference championship. Elgin hasn't won the Upstate 8 since 1974. Larkin, the last time they did it was back in 1980. Elgin was in the playoffs just 2 years ago, while Larkin hasn't made it to the postseason dance in about 10 years. Actually, 1981, of course. Coach Ray Haley was the man calling the signals back then, and I imagine the entire Larkin school administration's got to be buzzing that they're in the playoffs again, huh, Ray?
Oh, I'm sure they are. I think they had a big assembly there. They started assemblies again on Friday, and they had a big assembly, and I think everyone, it's obvious from the crowd here on both sides. It's a tremendous tribute to the high school football played in this city.
Fantastic crowd tonight. All the stands filled up. People bleeding over on the sides as well. It's a keeper. No, they pitch it out to Carrington. He's got room on the left side. Breaks it in. He's in the end zone for a touchdown. LaBrian Carrington takes the football into the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, it's the option. Option to the left, and Stafford took it out, broke in off tackle, and then pitched it out, and the halfback, defensive halfback, was by himself, and it was a tough play for him defensively.
So a 16-yard touchdown run from LaBrian Carrington. That makes the score 7-6. The extra point attempt is blocked. Enrico LaPrairie's extra point was blocked, so the score remains 7-6. Larkin on top.
Well, that's an excellent job by the center of the defensive line for Larkin. They broke through the center and blocked it in the center of the line. And of course, that 1 point could be a big factor as this game continues.
A lot of people expect this to be a low-scoring game just for the fact that the two teams have great defenses, but you never know. Each team has scored already here in the first quarter. And there's probably going to be more of that.
Bob, there's so much talent on both of these teams, offensively and defensively, that you never know how a game like this will go. I think there's too much talent to shut either one of them down, and that says a lot for their offensive teams. But defensively, they're both excellent teams. They're leading the conference, and there isn't going to be any losers here. Both of them are playoff bound. Obviously, they both want to win this game for the conference championship, but there's no losers playing on that field tonight.
Short kick, and it bounces, and it's taken there by Schneider, and he gets it up to about the 33-yard line. A return about maybe 5 or 6 yards, but it'll be pretty good field position for Larkin. 1st and 10 from the 33.
Jim Snyder was an offensive player for us last year, did a super job. This year they've got him playing both offense and defense, and he's doing equally as good a job on defense.
Seems like he's a pretty tough kid going both ways. He hurt his instep foot earlier in the year. He was slated as the starting running back, from what I understand, Ray, and
yes.
Kendrick Thomas took over, and he never gave up the job. I formation backfield, receiver out to the near and far side. Back to pass off the play actions. Going over the middle. Had a man open, but he overthrew his receiver. And that was a long, long throw.
He's got an excellent arm. He throws a long distance, and he's got some good receivers. Chris Brown has developed into an outstanding receiver. He's just a junior. Got good speed. He's a big kid. I think he's around 190 pounds and can catch the ball.
So it'll be a 2nd and 10 situation now from the 33. Here's the pitch. Thomas. Not much yardage there, but he turns the corner and gets it up to the 36. A pickup of 3. It was stacked up, and Thomas waited patiently for breaking to the outside, and he picked up 3 yards. 2nd and 7 situation now. Clock running with under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. 7-6 is our score. The difference in this ball game, a blocked extra point off the foot of Enrico LaPrairie. And Larkin's on top. They broke out on top with 8.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Kendrick Thomas on a 1-yard TD run made it 7-zip. And LaBrian Carrington off a 16-yard run made it 7-6, which is where we stand. Rolando, serious pressure, throws it up, and it's almost intercepted.
They had a blitz on that time. Paul Pennington from his middle linebacker came in and freed up one of the ends to get in and put pressure on him.
And Elgin almost picked off the errant pass. And Larkin will be forced to punt, facing a 4th and 7 situation. Kendrick Thomas standing at his own 25-yard line. 3 deep backs for Elgin. Good punt.
Tremendous punt.
And it's going to bounce. It's still toward the end zone. And it's going to die at the 1-yard line. How about that punt? Incredible punt from Kendrick Thomas. Wow. I believe that's a 64-yard punt. 63-yard punt.
Well, they got some air under that one, and I don't know whether he had any help with the wind, but he sure got a beautiful punt down to the 1.
And again, Ray, they are deep in their own territory, definitely where they don't want to start from. They got to go 99 yards for pay dirt.
That's right.
So 1st and 10, the ball actually spotted at the 2. 1 minute and counting to go in the first quarter. 7-6 our score. Larkin on top. Here's Stafford on the roll. He's going to keep it. Now he pitches it. It's Washington. He's got some room in front. Gets it up to about the 15-yard line. He was taken out of bounds there.
Here again, they went outside with the option.
Ray Pena in there on the tackle. But he picked up 13 yards, good enough for a first down, so the chains move. And Stafford again showed some tremendous quickness there.
He gets outside and he handles the option very well. He's a dangerous runner in himself, and they're probably trying to cover him, and then the halfback's getting free.
He's the 3rd leading rusher on this team. He's rushed for 10 touchdowns. That's the leader on the squad. And 444 yards coming into this game. Here's a give right up the middle. A quick give, still on his feet. Washington getting it to the 22-yard line, a pickup of another 6.
What makes them so dangerous is that they get you conscious to the outside with that quickness and the speed at the outside with the option, and then they come back with a trap in the center. And that's a tough combination.
It was actually Rob Walker on that last carry, Ray. He's got some great quickness, too, playing a fullback spot. He plays linebacker on defense for those guys. They've got great speed, even off the bench.
Well, the old saying, speed kills, and it really, you can make a lot of mistakes with the quickness.
Stafford on the keeper there. Nothing, no room there at all. Rick Short in there on the tackle, looked like. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Actually, they're going to say he lost 3. So it's going to be a 3rd and 6 now from the 20-yard line, and that will be the final play of the first quarter as the quarter ends with the score 7-6. Elgin trailing Larkin in this battle for the Town Jug. Stay tuned for second quarter action coming up shortly on Jones Intercable's Game of the Week.
They went into a little...
Timeout for Augustino's. Great food for a great time.
Augie Mix to Pass. It's one of his delicious mammoth sandwiches. Augie cooks everything up for the big appetite, like their party-size super subs and deli sandwiches. Treat your team to the best. Tackle one of Augustino's great pizzas with all the fixings. So team up with the winner, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, on the corner of Schmalley and St. Charles Road in Carroll Stream.
Who's got the best deli in the West?
Augustino's.
Turn us on, tune in new sights, make friends along the way.
Jones Intercable's Mind Extension University brings college credit courses right to your home. You can learn a new language, explore the cosmos, even earn an MBA. Open your mind to your future with Mind Extension University.
Jones Intercable, we're bringing your future home.
Randy Travis on strings. Branford Marsalis on the horn. Paul Schaefer on keys. Carly Simon on lead. There are a lot of different parts to play in the American Red Cross. Play your part.
All right, welcome back to Memorial Stadium. We just had the first play of the second quarter, a tremendous run around left end from Charles Stafford. He picked up 27 yards, good enough for a first down. It was a third down situation, Ray, and you noticed that that play was called out of the wishbone.
He lined up with 2 tight ends in a wishbone and led his 3 backs and followed them around the left end and picked up good yardage.
Now they're going to say he stepped out of bounds at the 35, but that's still good enough for a first down. So Elgin continues to roll on offense here on this drive. They started at their own 2-yard line. There it is, 3 men in the backfield. Stafford right up the middle himself. A marker goes down at the 41-yard line. You pick up of 6 yards, but again, a reminder, there is a marker down. Let's see what the preliminary signal is. Looks like it's against Elgin, I think. Just went right behind his center, Lakowitz, but it's coming back.
Usually you don't see illegal motion on a quick snap like that. He just lined up under. They may not have all been set.
Sure enough, that's the call, illegal motion. So a nice 6-yard gain comes back. It's going to bring up a 1st and 15 now at the 30-yard line. 11:48 to go in the first half. Our score 7-6. Larkin on top of Elgin. This battle for the Upstate 8 championship. Both teams will move on to the playoffs, the first round on Wednesday. They both have 7 wins this season. Stafford rolling, has time, has a man open. It's incomplete. He threw it away. Kilgore broke open at about the 45-yard line, but the pass was thrown out of bounds. So it's going to bring up a 2nd and 15 situation.
Larkin had excellent coverage on that play there. Snyder was out there, Chris Heiser, Thomas is well covered.
So Elgin's passing game hasn't had very much success at all tonight, but their running has been pretty impressive. Although they still trail by 1, 7-6. Both defenses have looked decent, not spectacular, as they were touted coming into this game. Stafford is being rushed. Another marker down, throws it up. He just throws it out of bounds. Nobody near there, but no grounding penalty called. That looks like it's going to be holding. They may be calling Phil Swider on that play because he put his palms out to the official saying, what, who, me, what'd I do? Isn't that always the reaction?
Usually.
So this is going to make it a second and a country mile for Elgin. That is if Larkin does take the penalty. But Stafford showed a little poise there, throwing the football out of bounds when he really had nothing. Well, that's going to bring it all the way back, a long way, down to about the 12 or 13 yard line. It's going to bring up a second and 27 yards. Wow. It's going to be a long way to go for Elgin for that first down. Let's see if they go to the air. They've got receivers to the near and far side. Diranicone to the near. Carrington doesn't get very much on the draw.
Jim Snyder made an excellent tackle there. He saved about 10 more yards. He filled the off-tackle hole real well.
Actually only a 4-yard pickup. And that's going to bring up a 3rd and 23 situation. And his whole place has to be thinking pass. Maybe Coach Stevens comes back with a run trying to surprise him. But they're going to need a lot of yardage to get the first. 23, in fact. As the clock continues to tick, under 11 minutes to go. First half, 7-6 our score. Both touchdowns coming in the first half of play. Kendrick Thomas broke open the scoring at the 8:35 mark with a 1-yard run for Larkin. Carrington got that one back with 2:39 to go in the first quarter. Here's a pass attempt, incomplete.
Way overthrown.
Way overthrown is right, looking for Scott Steinhofer at about the 45-yard line, but it's going to be 4th down and a punting situation for Elgin again.
Larkin should come out of this with excellent field position again. They're going to punt the ball from the 17, and they should get it somewhere around midfield.
Schneider and Heiser standing at their own 45-yard line. And Paul Pennington is standing at his own 8-yard line, getting ready to boot this one. Low snap, but he gets it off. High kick. Going to be taken by Schneider at his own 48. He's in Elgin territory. He's got some room on the left side. Cuts back. Still on his feet. He's got a couple men to beat. He gets it down to about the 18-yard line. Great return of about 34 yards for Jim Schneider. And Larkin's got tremendous field position. 1st and 10 from the 17.
Larkin had an excellent picket line set up over in front of their bench, and he got to it and made an excellent run. It was a high punt, which leads to a good return, and they broke it nicely.
So after the spot of the football, it's at the 16-yard line. 1st and 10. Mike Rolando calling the shots. He's got 2 receivers to the far side. Now Kendrick Thomas in motion. He gets the pitch. Goes to the right side and dives all the way down to about the 6-yard line. A pickup of about 10 yards. Kendrick Thomas showing that great speed. They run the power I formation out of the backfield, Ray, and Kendrick has the speed while all the other running backs on this team have the power. Guys like Schneider, Heiser, along with Gostin.
Well, they're doing excellent blocking, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get the ball.
One man in the backfield, that's Heiser, and again, in motion is Thomas. Fakes the pitch, and Heiser goes right up the gut. And he gets it inside the 5, possibly down to the 4. It's going to be a pickup of maybe 2 or 3. It's a 1st and goal situation, now 2nd and goal.
I believe that was Snyder on a reverse back over the center. Heiser went up over guard, and Jim Snyder came back in over the center.
Okay, so Snyder picks up 3 yards. It's a 2nd and goal from the 3 now. 3 men in the backfield. Here's a give. Heiser off the left side. He's in the end zone for a touchdown. Chris Heiser takes it in from the 3, and it's now 13-6 Larkin. 9:09 left to go in the first half as Heiser takes it over the left side from the 3-yard line for the touchdown.
That was a good play call there. More than likely they were keen on Kendrick, and Heiser took it over the left tackle.
Now what's going on over here, Ray? They've got the line set up on the far side.
Well, it's set up that they can go for 2-point play, or if they don't adjust to it, then they come. It wouldn't surprise me to see it. There it is. It's a fake.
And they take it in and for that 2-point conversion. You called it. How about that? So the Royals convert, and that makes it 15-6 now. Couldn't tell actually who got the football, but they got it into the end zone. So with 9:09 left to go in the first half, our score 15-6 Larkin. The Royals have looked impressive. They've come out with that confidence, Ray. They've run the football with authority out there. Rolando's looked decent, and they have taken advantage of great field position.
They've done an excellent job. They've moved the ball well, and they had various options that Elgin hasn't had so far because they've had excellent field position. They can do just about anything they want to from where they're receiving the ball. And they've got some tremendous desire there, and those kids are doing an excellent job.
Now coming into this ball game, Elgin had only given up on the average about 8 points a game. The most they had actually given up in a contest was 13. Actually, St. Charles scored 20 on them last week, but one of those was on a kickoff return, so the defense itself had only given up about 13 in a game as the most, but not here, as 15 has already been scored by Larkin. So the Royals getting ready to kick it off. Kendrick Thomas will boot it from his own 40-yard line. Low squib kick's going to be taken by one of the upbacks. It's Stafford at his own 20, veering to the near side, still on his feet, avoids a tackler before being knocked out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And there you see the danger that Charles Stafford can cause defenses, as it looked like he was going to go down at about the 30, cut it back inside, picked up another 10 yards.
He's got excellent feet. He really is quick, and he makes those moves, and when it appears he's going to be tackled, he jukes a little bit, and he's back the other way and runs against the grain, and he makes a lot of yardage that way.
What a gem he's been for this Elgin team, and Coach Dick Stevens, he wasn't even sure if he was going to play this year, Ray.
That's what I understand.
It looked like he was maybe considering going back to California, where he played his high school ball his first 3 years, but he ended up sticking around, and it turned out to be a tremendous blessing for Elgin.
Well, everyone dreams of having a move in like that.
Do you ever get anybody like that?
No, fortunately, unfortunately, I should say, we haven't.
Carrington goes up the middle to about the 46-yard line, but it's going to be illegal motion, it looks like, on Jay Kilgore, as he broke it upfield a little bit early. And I believe this penalty is going to go against Elgin and bring that gain right back. Looked like Kilgore, he was in motion, Ray, and he must not have heard the snap count, and he busted upfield a little bit early, and the referees caught him.
Well, they've had a couple of cadence calls here, and they're putting themselves in hot water here by keeping themselves down here in their own territory. Every time they make a gain, they're having to back up a little bit because of offsides or whatever, and you just can't do that.
So the illegal motion penalty makes it 1st and 15 at the 35-yard line. Dyranicone in motion to the far side. Here's Washington spinning his way up to about the 38-yard line, a pickup of about 5 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 12 situation. Pickup of 4 yards there for Ronnie Washington. As these two teams have had problems this year, Ray, with penalties. Over 600 yards each coming into this game. Last week, Elgin had 10 penalties for over 100.
Bob, aggressive teams have more penalties. You know, they're aggressive kids, and you're more apt to have penalties when you have a team like that.
2nd and 11, Stafford going long. He's got nobody out there. The nearest man was Chris Brown for Larkin. He was looking for Dyranicone, but Dyranicone was about 10 yards in back of where the football landed, so it just goes as an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd and 11 now from the 39. So Stafford aired out the football there, and even though, Ray, that the passes like that aren't incomplete, they have a tendency to stretch the defense.
They stretch the defense, but I think he's throwing them too deep. Right now, I think he's got to come underneath because Larkin's got some tremendous speed back there. It's going to be unlikely that they get deeper than those kids unless they just blow a coverage. So I think he'd be better positioned if he'd start trying to hit shorter underneath them.
They're going to need 11 yards to keep this drive going. 3rd and 11 from the 39. 2 men in the backfield. And Stafford's rolling. He's going to keep it himself. He's met right there. No yardage. Kendrick Thomas, I believe, was in there on the tackle for that one, and Stafford may have gotten a yard, but it's going to bring up a 4th and 10 as Charles felt a big stick there, and Elgin will have to punt the football.
Rick Short is a tremendous football player, and he was in on that play, and he's an excellent player and just a super kid.
Short up from the linebacker spot helped out. And Pennington standing at his own 30. Another bouncing ball. And he gets the punt off. A great play by Paul Pennington. The ball takes an Elgin roll down to the 25-yard line. I don't know how the heck Paul Pennington got that punt off, but for the 2nd straight week, Ray, Elgin having a problem with that snap on the punt. But Pennington showed his great athletic ability, and he got it off, and it's actually turned out to be a good play for the Maroons.
That was a super play by Paul Pennington, and it could have led to a disaster because had he not gotten that ball away, Larkin was right down there knocking again. He got a tremendous, that shows the athletic ability of Paul Pennington.
Pennington definitely Division I caliber talent. Great speed, agility, and strength from the linebacker spot. A 3-year starter, a unanimous all Upstate 8 pick last year. Here's Thomas slashing his way up to about the 33-yard line, a pickup of close to 10 yards. It's going to be close. Maybe, see, it's going to depend on the spot of the football. They're going to say he gained about 9, so it's going to bring up a 2nd and 1 situation.
Larkin's kicking out the end, and they're neutralizing linebackers, and he's got a hole off tackle, and you can't afford to give that to Thomas.
And now they're going to say it's close enough that they have to bring the chain gang out there. Kendrick Thomas has been a major surprise for this Larkin team. He was cut his first year, quit his sophomore year, then came back his junior year, sat down with Coach Bob Krieger. Coach Krieger told him that he said, hey, I want you to be a leader. I want you to play for this team, do a good job. Thomas agreed, and he's just been a tremendous surprise this year.
Well, he sure has. He's been an excellent back. He's one of the better backs we've had in a long time at Larkin.
He has tremendous speed to complement the power that they have from the fullback position. So it's going to be an I formation backfield, one receiver to the near side, another to the far. 6:35 and counting. Larkin with the football and a 15-6 lead. Here's the give up the middle. A gain of 2 yards. It'll be a 1st down for Larkin as they move the chains. Couple yard gain there for Jerome Gostin. So the football sits at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10. Just over 6 minutes to go in the 1st half. I formation backfield again. Thomas. Not much yardage there, and a marker goes down. Elgin did a nice job of stringing it out down there. Tom Lakowitz, one of the first guys in there. We'll have to see what the marker is.
Could be a clip. It is.
Yep. That's going to really push the football back, right?
Well, Larkin's got a guard now against the same thing that's plagued Elgin in the first part of this game, and that's poor field position. You get down here and your play selection is limited, and you've got three downs to get out of there. Now, should they not get those the 10 yards, then Elgin's right back in the middle of the field with other options that they can use.
And another thing we have to talk about is possibly some turnovers coming into this, to play possibly in this game. Both teams very good at forcing them. Actually, this Elgin team has a turnover ratio of 24-8. That's awfully impressive. While on the other hand, Larkin has a 22-16 turnover ratio, positive, of course. And those are very good numbers. So each team can force the turnovers. None yet in this ball game, though. Here's the give, Heiser right up the middle, nothing there. Good defense from Elgin.
I was amazed the similarities between these two teams and looking at statistics over the entire year, and rushing and totally, and passing and turnovers and fumbles and things like that. They're a mirror image of each other statistically, it seems to be, and so you can expect a great game. This game's not over yet.
So after Chris Heiser picked up nothing there, it brings up a 2nd and 25 situation after the clipping foul. Football sitting on the 22-yard line in Larkin territory. A little bit over 5 minutes ago in the first half. 15-6 our score. Larkin on top. Rolando back to pass. Has time. He's going to try to run the football, and he's going to be taken down at about the 27-yard line. The pocket collapsed a little bit on him. Rob Walker in there on the tackle, along with Andy Poison from the noise guard position. And he got it up to about the 28-yard line. Not much yardage there. It's going to be about a 3rd and 19 situation.
Chris Brown appeared to be open, but the pocket collapsed on him. He just didn't have time to give it to him down on a flag pattern.
I guess, Ray, you could almost say that's kind of a coverage sack out there, because he was looking for a long time.
That's right.
But then there was no time out there anymore, as we talked about the pocket collapsing, and then he was eventually taken down. Elgin showing blitz. Pennington up the middle. Rolando gets rid of the football, and Stafford intercepts it at the 49-yard line in Elgin territory. And just when we started talking about it, Charles Stafford comes up with interception number 8 on the year for him.
Well, I think he can give Paul Pennington a big assist on that, because he put pressure up the middle on it, and it was just a short drop, 3-step drop perhaps, and he had to get rid of the ball, and he threw it up in the air, and it was picked off.
And that was just a tremendously dangerous pass, too, because when you're throwing it to Stafford's corner, not only is he a great athlete, but he has great speed and tremendous jumping ability as well, and he came down with that one. 4.5 speed, I should say, from Charles Stafford. He
That's
stayed with that
tremendous.
one. Here's the give off the right side. Washington gets it in the Larkin territory to about the 47-yard line, a pickup of 4 yards. After the spot, they say he gained 3, so it'll be 2nd and 7. Elgin, of course, would like to put the football into the end zone and make it a much closer ball game. They're down by 9 points at this stage of the game, with less than 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Charles Stafford running the show for Elgin. Double tight end offense, I formation backfield. Stafford on the keepers, got some room on the outside. He's flushed out. Nice pickup, though, up into about the 38-yard line, a gain of about 9 yards, and another first down for Elgin.
That was a good illustration of the type of feet that he's got. He came out there and he stagger stepped and threw off the defensive man, and then gained another 5 yards when he should have probably been tackled.
Did Larkin do a good job of staying home there on the linebacking spot?
I think they've done an excellent job so far. They're going to get, you can't shut down a team like Elgin every play, and I think they've done a good job of neutralizing their offense so far. A part of that's been the good field position they've enjoyed.
So Elgin driving here late in the first half. Here's Washington. Slashes his way down to about the 36 or so, a pickup of maybe a couple.
The trap's a big play for Elgin, and they keep hitting outside and then up the center, and it's hard to cover the whole width of the field.
So Washington gets 3 yards, bringing up a 2nd and 7 situation from the 36-yard line, with 2:40 and counting to go in the first half. Elgin controls the football. They have 2 running backs in the backfield, split backs, 1 wide receiver to the far side. Here's Washington. He's got a block in front of him, but he's taken down at the 32-yard line. And on that tackle, Matt Rossborough.
That was an excellent hit. He could have made some yardage on that play had not Rossborough made that nice tackle.
And I know Krieger is very high on Matt Rossborough, who's just a junior.
He's got approximately 5 juniors that play a lot, and they're going to be an excellent nucleus for him next year.
Got 4 starters on defense, Ray, that are juniors. Here's a fumble. Aaron Washington picks it right back up, and he gets it up to the 30-yard line He actually picks up 3 yards, and that's the second fumble that Washington has had, but he has gotten it back both times. And it's going to bring up, though, a 4th and possibly 4 yards to go here. And Ray, it almost looked like that he was going to pitch the ball back to Stafford on a flea flicker type of play.
Well, that's possible. He went into the line, he fumbled it forward, and Christmas came early for him on that play because he just picked it up and continued on. He perhaps may have been running a flea flicker, but it looked like to me he was going into the line.
After the spot of the football, they say he gained 2 yards, so it's a 4th and 2 now. Some early jumping on Larkin's side of the football, and it looked like it was Ray Pena who moved, and it's going to be an automatic first down for Elgin if that's the case.
Krieger does an excellent job of moving Pena around. He's so quick. He moves him over the center on some plays. He's out at end, taking advantage of his unique quickness off the ball.
A little bit too aggressive there, though, and it gives Elgin a first down. A little bit longer count from Charles Stafford. May have...
This play is lining up out at the end.
Here's Washington sweeping right. He's got some room still on his feet, down inside the 20, down to the 14-yard line.
54 seconds left, though. He better...
Yep. Pickup of 12 yards, and I think they've only used 1 timeout, Ray. And it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line, and now they take number 2.
Well, that's an excellent time to call it, to get their thoughts together.
So Elgin in excellent shape here as they're trying to cut the deficit down. They trail right now 15-6 with 54 seconds left, and we have a packed house at Memorial Field. I guess a typical crowd for a general Elgin-Larkin matchup, huh, Ray?
Well, it used to be. When we went to a Saturday afternoon game, of course, our crowd dropped off tremendously, but back in the years before we had the problems that we had to go to a Saturday, we used to have crowds like this on a Friday when we had good teams. Now, obviously, you've got to win, and when we did win, we had a lot of crowds similar to this. Saturday afternoon games really drain your crowd because there's so many things that people do on Saturdays in the fall when they have to rake leaves or go to college games, and there's so many college games on, you have a lot of competition, and it hurts your crowds.
And I guess it's just a testament to the Elgin fans that Elgin quarterback Charles Stafford said this week, he goes, hey, it doesn't matter if we were both 0-8. These fans come out here fired up, and they want to win this game no matter what the team's records are.
That's exactly right.
54 seconds left to go in the first half. Our score 15-6, Elgin trailing Larkin, but the Maroons are threatening here. They have the football deep in Royals territory. Another whistle on the field. A referee's timeout out there. And now we get ready for action again. The fans on their feet. 2 men in the backfield, 2 receivers to the far side. Back to pass, 3-step drop. He's moving those quick feet. He's going to be sacked. A big sack for Larkin at the 34-yard line. Looked like Jake Pritchett along with Ray Pena in there. And it looked like Stafford was going to wheel away, but he just did not have enough moves left in his bag of tricks. And he's taken down for a big loss.
Elgin had 2 wideouts to the left side of the field, and their pass protection broke down. He started one way, reversed himself, got deeper, and then got trapped deep. It was a great play for Larkin.
And looking for Kilgore, incomplete at the 20-yard line. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 29 yards to go after that loss of 19 yards on the sack. And just like that, Ray, it looked like Elgin was in great field position for a touchdown, and now they find themselves almost miles away.
That's right.
Football is at the 32. Although when you have such speed in the backfield like a Stafford, a Carrington, and a Washington, you can never count these guys out from scoring on one play.
Right.
The game against Lake Park, Stafford on the last play of the half took 195 yards for a touchdown. Back to pass. Looks like a screen setting up. Being blitzed by Hornick, avoids the rush, and now he hits Washington. Washington fares back toward the middle of the field. And he gets it down to the 22-yard line, 2 seconds, 1 second, and did they get the timeout? They did with 1 second left.
You got a field goal coming up here, I would think.
That was a little bit too close to call for Elgin's sake, Ray. They got it with 1 second left, and they're going to bring on Enrico LaPrairie. Looking possibly here, let's see where they're going to spot the football. It's at the 24. This would make it almost like a 41-yard kick.
Well, he's got a slight wind with him. Be a tremendous kick.
And LaPrairie against Lake Park a couple of weeks ago missed a 34-yard field goal, which could have tied up the football game. Elgin with the timeout on the field. Just a reminder, Jones Intercable will have exciting high school playoff action. Second round action the first Saturday of the month. And who knows, maybe it could be one of these teams or even both of these teams playing in that game. And LaPrairie's boot is going to be short. And it was a bad snap, but LaPrairie's kick was short, and the half is over. 15-6 is our score. Larkin on top of Elgin. And Ray Haley, some of your first impressions on this half here today?
Well, I think the story of the game so far has been excellent field position for Larkin, and I think that they've been able to move the ball when they had the opportunity. They put 2 touchdowns in and went for a 2-point play, which makes I guess they'll have to have 3 scores to take the lead. And Elgin has moved the ball well when they had good field position, but so far they've been, for the most part, back in their own territory, and that limits your options in your play calling. I think that their game is the run rather than the pass, and they've been in positions where they've had to pass to make up long yardage, whether it be because of penalties or just plays that were stopped at the line of scrimmage. So I think if they get out in the middle of the field where they can operate, this game is still going to be a tremendous game. But Larkin has done everything that they had to do. They've controlled the ball at times, and I think that's very important against a team that's got the quickness that Elgin has got. And so far, I think they've been able to run off tackle, which is what they have to do.
All right, Ray, our score coming up at the half, 15-6. We'll be back shortly with second half action on Jones Intercable's Game of the Week. Stay tuned.
Timeout for Augustino's. Great food for a great time.
Augie makes the pass. It's one of his delicious mammoth sandwiches. Augie cooks everything up for the big appetite, like their party-size super subs and deli sandwiches. Treat your team to the best. Tackle one of Augustino's great pizzas with all the fixings. So team up with the winner, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, on the corner of Schmally and St. Charles Road in Carroll Stream.
Who's got the best deli in the West?
Augustino's!
Turn us on, tune in new sights, make friends along the way.
Jones Intercable's Mind Extension University brings college credit courses right to your home. You can learn a new language, explore the cosmos, even earn an MBA. Open your mind to your future with Mind Extension University.
Jones Intercable, we're bringing your future home.
Randy Travis on strings. Branford Marsalis on the horn. Paul Schaefer on keys. Carly Simon on lead. There are a lot of different parts to play in the American Red Cross. Play your part.
All right, welcome back to Memorial Field, where second half action just about ready to get underway. Bob Urzick alongside Larkin legend Ray Haley. Our score heading into the third quarter, 15-6. Larkin is on top of Elgin. The Maroons will kick it off here. Just looking quickly at some of the numbers in the first half. A total of 138 yards of offense for Elgin and just 83 for Larkin. And I guess, Ray, the main reason for that is the tremendous field position for the Royals.
Absolutely. They've been the benefactors of some good field position. They haven't had to go a long way. It's still a good ball game, and I think it's going to pick up the second half even more than the first half.
Enrico LaPrairie on the boot. High end over end kick taken at the 10. And up to the 27-yard line for the Royals. They'll end up with pretty good field position.
Jay Kilgore made a great tackle on that kickoff.
Kilgore's a good little player for Elgin. First play of the second half, just looking at the two leading rushers in the game. First of all, for Elgin, Ronnie Washington with 11 carries, 69 yards. And Kendrick Thomas has 68 yards with 7 carries. He also has a touchdown from 1 yard and a run of 41 yards. It's Mike Rolando. Here's the give. Thomas off the right side, still on his feet before finally being taken down by a host of Elgin tacklers. And finally now they throw him down. Chris Kotlinski, one of the first tacklers in there for Elgin, as the ball is now up to about the 37-yard line, a pickup of around 8 yards. It'll bring up a 2nd and 2 situation.
That was an 8-yard run, but that was a great run by Thomas. He came through there, sidestepped the man off tackle, made him miss, made the linebacker miss, and picked up 8 yards. And on the surface, it doesn't look like a long run, but he made some great moves on that short run.
And that's Tom Lakowitz, who's down and hurt for Elgin on the field. Coach Dick Stevens standing above him. Lakowitz is the 5'10", 210-pound senior. He goes 2 ways for this Elgin team, a very valuable player. He's the center on the offense, and he plays defensive tackle. And he went down in a heap, and he's been on his back, and he looks like he's in a pretty good deal of pain out there. So Elgin hoping that Lakowitz is okay. You see him banging his hand on the ground. He's definitely in pain as they're checking to see where it hurts. And we're hoping Lakowitz is going to be okay out there. They're going to grab a couple of players from the sideline to help him bring him off the field. That's Jason Robles out there, along with Tim Nelson. And let's just hope Tom Lakowitz is okay, Coach, because anytime you lose such a valuable player like that, it's going to really hurt you.
Well, he's being aided off the field here. He's not putting any weight on his right leg, so perhaps he has a cramp or a slight sprain. He doesn't look seriously injured.
They're going to take him over to the bench and sit him down where they'll take a further look at Tom Lakowitz. I formation backfield, a 1st and 10 situation. Kendrick Thomas gained 10 yards. Early movement on the line. Looks like Larkin moved. Possibly Phil Swider. Maybe, excuse me, Casey Fellows instead that moved. And it's going to be a legal procedure on Larkin. They'll push the football back 5 yards.
That's a tough penalty right there. They had 2nd and 2, and it's important to Larkin that they get better field position than this. They want to move the ball. They're against the wind now. The longer they can keep the ball, it's going to be to their advantage.
2nd and 7 situation. Here's the give. Thomas breaks a tackle, still on his feet. Gets it up close to about the 35-yard line.
The kid with less skill then would have lost yardage, and yet he gained about 2 or 3 on that play.
There wasn't much room.
He was trapped in the backfield.
So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 6 situation now. Football resting at the 35-yard line. Make that 3rd and 3 after the spot of the football.
This is a big down, I think, for Larkin.
As Ray said, they'd like to maintain control and keep the football out of Elgin's hands as long as possible. Here's Thomas. Not much yardage there at all. Robert Getz in the backfield. However, a marker was down, and it was downfield way away from the play. And we'll have to see. That's a lot of times ends up being defensive holding out there, doesn't it, Ray?
Probably is, and they'll decline the penalty probably and make Larkin punt.
Let's see what the call's going to be.
Clipping.
Oh, a clip on Larkin. So that will still bring up a 4th down. Elgin probably will decline it. They're asking Paul Pennington right now, the captain on the defense. As that play did not gain nothing, actually lost a few. So let's see, no indication as of yet. And they do decline it now, so Larkin will be forced to punt the football. So Elgin should get some good field position with the wind at its back and a chance to get closer into this ball game.
Elgin's a very dangerous team on returns. Last year against West Aurora, I think they ran 2 or 3 touchdowns on returns, and they've got a good scheme, and they've got dangerous runners, so this is a play that might be important in this game.
A little bit of a high snap. It's going to be taken up by the upbacks. It's dropped by Washington. And
good coverage. Good coverage.
Boy, Washington.
Chris Heiser made an excellent tackle after the fumble of the ball.
Well, Washington has been having his problems hanging on to that football. He's fumbled the football actually 3 times tonight. They haven't lost it as of yet. Charles Stafford has saved him a couple times. That time he picked it up and tried to gain some yardage, but there was nothing there. As you mentioned, Ray, Heiser did a nice job. 9:50 and counting to go, third quarter, 15-6 our score. Elgin trailing, but they do have the football at their own 33, 1st and 10 situation. Here's again, right side, Washington. Maybe a couple. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 8 situation.
Jim Snyder and Chris Heiser were in on that tackle. They it was a veer, outside veer, and they met him right in the hole.
Elgin runs that power split veer offense as opposed to Larkin's power I. Split backfield. Here's the give. Again, Washington, right side this time, spins away from a tackler. Where he's knocked out at the 42. I believe another marker was thrown on that play. Possibly a face mask on the far side.
Washington's clapping, so it appears it's against Larkin.
See what the call is. If it is, that'll push it up good enough for a 1st down. No, instead, wow, how about that? A holding. So Ronnie Washington faked out everybody in the booth. And you know, Larkin probably will take the penalty. Push Elgin a little bit back. So they'll spot the football at about the 31-yard line. 9 minutes, 3 seconds to go, third quarter, 15-6 our score. Looks like a 2nd and about 13 situation. Pro set backfield, 1 wide out. It's a reverse. Styranicone cuts it back up the field before he's finally met by a bunch of tacklers at the 45, but he did get enough for the 1st down, about 13, maybe 14, and that reverse worked awfully successful.
As a double reversed, he handed it off to the halfback, and the wide receiver came back deep and received the ball, and he had 2 blockers in front of him to run interference, and he picked up the 1st down. It was an excellent play.
Something out of Coach Dick Stevens' bag of tricks. Picks up about 14 yards, and the chains move along. 8.5 minutes to go, third quarter, I formation backfield. 1 receiver to the far side, double tight end offense. There's a fumble. And who's got it? Larkin saying they have it, do they? And yes, they do. Larkin comes up with his 1st turnover of the ball game. It looked like a bad exchange from center between Charles Stafford.
I think Hornick recovered the fumble.
Mark Hornick, the big Division I candidate. Great offensive lineman, and he plays some defensive line as well. He's a big kid at 255 pounds. Just about every single prestigious Division I school you can think of has been calling him. So, big break. So, Larkin has the football at the 45 in Maroons territory. Here's Thomas. Splits through the line. Still on his feet. Pushing tacklers back. Breaks the tackle. He's going to go. Kendrick Thomas is in the end zone for a touchdown. A 45-yard touchdown run. It looked like Kendrick Thomas was stacked up at the 30, but I believe there's a marker down, or is there? What a tremendous run. It's going to be legal motion, though, on Larkin. Oh, my goodness, that's got to be one of the greatest runs of the year I've seen, Ray.
That was a tremendous. He broke the grasp of a couple of tacklers just beyond the line of scrimmage, and it looked like he was stopped. He was going to be knocked out of bounds, and he kept his feet moving, and this is why coaches always tell their running backs to keep their feet moving. He just tore away, and he was on his way all the way. It's unfortunate that there was a motion penalty on that, but that was a fantastic run, and I've seen him make several runs of that nature, and he's just a tremendous back.
He definitely is at that. So that costly illegal motion penalty brings the football back into Larkin territory at nose of the football right at midfield, actually.
They're flip-flopping Mark Hornick, the big tackle for Larkin. He's over on the left side this time. Normally he's on the right. This time he's on the left.
Kendrick Thomas looked a couple times like he was going to be stopped. There wasn't much yardage, but he just slashed right through a little hole, kept going, broke a couple of tackles, and he went the distance, but the penalty definitely hurt. So still 15-6 our score. Larkin on top, 8 minutes to go. That touchdown could have almost silenced Elgin for the evening, but not to be. And Thomas slips and falls down on the wet turf. He's looking a little frustrated out there. He doesn't want to pick up a 15-yard personal foul penalty as he loses about a yard or 2 yards, and that's not what Kendrick Thomas wants to do at this point, Ray, is his team is winning where a penalty can hurt him.
He's cool. You can't afford to lose a player of his caliber over a little argument here. Now that time they did an excellent job. They moved Hornick out to the left as if to follow him, and then they did the quick pitch to the right and ran away from him, and there perhaps could have been good yardage made on that play had he not slipped.
2nd and 16 from the 49. Here's Thomas again, this time far side, gets around, gets another marker's thrown down, and he gets it into Elgin territory at about the 47-yard line, but a holding penalty on Larkin is going to bring the football back in. The Royals just stalling themselves. So this drive has gone nowhere ever since the fumble recovery by Mark Hornick. It's just gone backwards. Penalties have hurt, Ray, as we just saw that Kendrick Thomas had a touchdown run called back.
Well, they can't afford to make penalties because they've got to keep control of the ball, and I think they're doing an excellent job of doing that. They want to maintain the ball control as much as they can, because you can't give a team like Elgin the ball very often without them getting into the end zone, and so far they've done a super job of doing that.
So the football has been pushed back 17 yards from the original line of scrimmage, where Larkin picked it up on the fumbled snap from center by Charles Stafford, as right now the ball is sitting at the Larkin 38-yard line. 2nd and 27 the situation. High formation backfield, one receiver to the near side. Rolando, he's got a man wide open. It's short at the 20, 10, 5. Touchdown! Rick Shore takes it in on a tremendous play-action pass. A 62-yard touchdown bomb from Mike Rolando to Rick Short. And bam, what a big play that was for Larkin.
That was an old trap reverse pass. Chris slipped through the line, and he was 10 yards behind anybody. They faked a reverse, inside reverse off of it. Rolando did an excellent job of hiding the ball, and when he looked up, he was 10 yards. Chris was 10 yards down behind anybody, and excellent pass was laid out, and it was 6 points.
There's a 2-point conversion, and again it's in. A 2-point conversion is good. Kendrick Thomas takes it again, and our score now 23-6. Boy, oh boy. Slowly turning into a round here, Ray.
Well, they're doing an excellent job. They're doing just exactly what you have to do.
What a tremendous pass from Rolando.
It was a great pass. Great pass.
Short got behind.
I believe that may be the only pass completed so far, isn't it?
I can't remember another one.
I don't recall either side having a completed pass before.
What a big one that is.
Oh, super.
7:04 left to go in the third quarter, 23-6 our score.
The secondary was completely faked out on that last play. Defensive secondary, they came up to cover the reverse, inside reverse, and Chris got behind the man easily. I don't think he knew it until the ball was in the air, and it was too late then. Chris Heiser has excellent speed, and in that case, he had excellent hands. It's a beautifully conceived play.
7:04 left to go, third quarter. 23-6 is our score. Here's Thomas at the 10-yard line. Carrington gets it up to about the 30-yard line before Rick Short knocks him out of bounds right there. So Elgin has got a hill to climb here, but there's still plenty of time. 7 minutes left in the third quarter, but Elgin trailing 23-6, and Ray, I don't think they have trailed like this the entire season.
I don't believe they have.
It's going to be interesting to see if Coach Stevens goes away from his offense of consistently rushing the football and tries to pass it, or if he tries to stick with it, thinking he still has plenty of time.
I don't think passing's really Elgin's game. I think they're best when Stafford.
And here they go with the option. He's got Pat Lane. Lane still on his feet before being knocked out of bounds at the 50. Ronnie Washington on the option, ran it, and then he threw it to Pat Lane for a nice completion. A pickup of 9 yards.
I think their passing game's best when Stafford breaks contain and then hits people underneath and lets them have an opportunity to run. That was a halfback pass on that occasion, picked up good yardage. But their field position's been atrocious, and I think that's been the biggest culprit in their game plan. I am sure that they hadn't envisioned having poor field position. They're on the 50 right now, and I think that during their drive for their touchdowns, about the only other time they've really been in Larkin's territory.
We got to give credit to that Royals defense. They have played very well tonight. Jay Kilgore in motion in the near side. Marker down as Carrington rips off the right side. And he gets about 8, but it might be coming back. We'll have to see what the preliminary signal is. Kendrick Thomas in there on the tackle. He does everything for this team. Tremendous athlete. And it's illegal motion on the Maroons. So the Maroons shooting themselves in the foot, trying to pick up yardage, but moving back at the same time. Clock is dead with 6:38 to go, third quarter, 23-6. It's been all Larkin. Although, Ray, I think if you start looking at the numbers at the end of this game, if it stays consistent, that the numbers will be awfully similar, except for what's on the scoreboard.
Well, that could be.
Elgin actually outgained Larkin at the half, 138-83 in total yardage, but that's mainly because Larkin had such tremendous field position in the first half, as Ray alluded to earlier.
It makes a big difference if you don't have to go 70, 80, 90 yards to score, and you don't need as much yardage.
Movement on the far side of the Larkin line.
Great play in the center of the line by...
looked like Snyder was in there again.
Snyder. There's a trap up the center, and Snyder was in there, as was Hughes.
Maybe a yard, if that, for Ronnie Washington. It's going to be a 2nd and 14 situation after the penalty to Elgin for the illegal motion.
I guess that was Cargill on there with Jim Snyder.
Dan Cargill, number 75.
Right.
So Elgin has a long way to go to get back into this one. 23-6 our score. The battle for the Upstate 8 championship. Right now, Larkin seems to be in the driver's seat. Here's Stafford. Here's Kilgore. Jay Kilgore with the catch, and he takes it into Larkin territory at about the 47-yard line. It's a pickup of 7 yards. They get back half of what they need for the first down. It'll bring up about a 3rd and 7 situation. Clock ticking with about 5 minutes to go, third quarter. The play has seemed to slow down here as they've gone more to the passing game a little bit. Penalties have stopped the clock. 23-6 is our score. Pro set backfield for the Maroons. Stafford's got a big rush from Hornick. He's going to fall down, and he's sacked at the 35-yard line. Big pressure there. It's going to be a loss of 17 yards, and when Charles Stafford gets sacked, he loses a lot of yardage because of his scrambling
put
ability.
A lot of pressure on him right up the center, and he tried to spin out of it, and he lost his footing, and they're back on the 30.
We saw
35.
Ray, we saw a similar play like that at the end of the first half, which basically killed Elgin's chances of scoring there. They had great field position.
They've been burying themselves, and it's not for lack of effort, but nevertheless, they've been burying themselves with plays like that.
So Pennington standing at his own 25, getting ready to punt. Another bad snap. And he gets it away. They're going to be looking for a long snapper very shortly, but it takes a great Elgin roll. And it's going to go to about the 12-yard line. It took a great roll. Actually, it's going to turn out to be a 52-yard punt after the roll.
Given the circumstances of the bad snap, that was just a fantastic punt. Pennington has gotten 2 punts off that were unbelievable, and he did them on his own initiative because he's had to search out the fumble, the low snap, and get the handle on it, and under duress from the defensive players, he's gotten off 2 great punts.
That's the 3rd bad snap in 2 weeks.
Right. And the extra point, I believe, was a bad snap.
Yeah, and then there was another punt that was a very low snap. It didn't hit the ground, but they're having some problems with their long snapper. Here's a give to the fullback. Not much yardage there.
Well, they're giving them a heavy front down there, knowing that they're probably not going to be throwing the ball, but they're in a position to gamble a little bit here.
Heiser
got the lead and to get out of there, but they've eaten up the clock the whole quarter so far, and that's going to be to their advantage. They'll have the win with them the 4th quarter, slight as it is, and that's an advantage.
Here's to give Thomas. He gets away from him. Washington strings him out, and now he spins away from a tackler, gets it up close to the 20-yard line.
He just doesn't want to come down.
He is a tough runner. He picked up.
And Chris Heiser did a beautiful job out there on a block, too. He didn't know the play was over, and he really leveled someone.
So that's going to be about a 3rd and 3 situation now. Football sitting at the 19-yard line. And Larkin would just love to get a first down here and keep control of the football and run out the clock in his 3rd quarter as it's ticking under the 2.5-minute mark. Heiser's in motion to the far side. Thomas is the lone setback. He has the football. Sweeping left side's got the first down as he picks up 4, possibly 5 yards. So Kendrick Thomas, although I believe he did get out of bounds, stops the clock, but he does have the first down, so at least another 3 downs for Larkin coming up. Kendrick Thomas.
I think Larkin's doing what they wanted to do. They're moving the ball on the ground and eating up the clock, and they use the 1 pass for the touchdown.
It's a nice play call out of Coach Krieger's book. He caught Elgin by big surprise, and Charles Stafford's coming out of the ball game. He may have injured himself.
I think an equipment problem. Looks like his shoulder strap is loose.
His left shoulder being held in an awkward position. Yeah. 2:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Here's a give. Thomas again. Nothing there. Elgin was ready for him this time. In on the tackle, Jason Aikman, along with Paul Pennington. And that was a loss of yardage, it looks like. It's going to bring up about a 2nd and 12, a loss of 2, as Elgin snuffed that one out. Clock ticking, under 2 minutes to go. Larkin trying to hold on to that football as long as it can. That's the strategy against this Elgin team. They've got such great speed.
They're a bigger, stronger team, and in the line, and they're using that to an advantage. They're moving the ball, running the ball, controlling the ball, and I think that's probably what you've got to do to beat a team like Elgin. They're so quick, and given the opportunities, they're going to score, but they can't score without the ball, and I think they've got a good strategy going there.
So Thomas picked up about 3 on that carry. Jason Aikman again in there on the tackle. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 8 situation for Larkin. Looks like a passing down for Mike Rolando and the Royals. 23-6 is our score. Under a minute to go. It's complete to Brown. Jitterbugs a little bit, but he's going to be short of the first down.
Well, he's got the good speed. Once he breaks that, he's out there isolated on a defensive back, and although it's a short yardage gain, it's a good play because he's got the potential to break that play all the way. I tell you, these teams are in tremendous shape. A lot of these kids go both ways, and you don't see that an awful lot anymore.
5 on each team, right?
Right. Some of the key kids are playing both ways, and you have to be in tremendous shape to play this caliber of football and play both ways. So I think they're to be commended. The coaches have both got their kids in excellent shape, and we're seeing a tremendous game here.
Look out for Stafford. He's got some room. He's got to get by Thomas. Now one man to beat. Jake Pritchett was the last man to save the touchdown as he knocked him out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. A tremendous return from Charles Stafford. And there's 2 seconds left to go in the third quarter. And there it is, Ray. Every time he touches the football, he's dynamite.
They've got tremendous ability, and given the opportunities that a lot of teams give them, they're going to beat you, but they haven't had those opportunities tonight. Larkin controlled the ball that whole third quarter, and
Stafford on the bootleg. He's taken down at the 15, and that will be the final play of the third quarter. A pickup of 13 yards for Charles Stafford. Elgin is threatening, but our score after 3 quarters of play, the Larkin Royals 23, Elgin 6. Back with fourth quarter action shortly on Jones Intercable's Game of the Week.
Look, you gotta help me. My baby's dying.
All right, sir. We're on our way.
Screwdriver.
Where? We got to it just in time.
Cavelli's A1 service. Randall-Elgin in Aurora.
I'm Bob Urza. And I'm Joe Snydoff.
You like high school sports? And Sports Week is your local ticket to exciting sports action.
Step in each week for fast-paced, hard-hitting highlights, interviews, and features on players and teams in your area.
You say you missed a big game this week? Well, Sports Week didn't. We've got all the pad-popping, ball-spiking highlights plus previews from the weekend ahead.
If you breathe local sports, then Sports Week is your life source. Sports Week, catch it on Thursday nights at 7.
And then again on Friday nights at 7 on Jones Intercable TV.
All right, there you see it. If you love high school sports, don't miss Sports Week. Highlights from all high school.
You say you missed a big game this week? Well, Sports Week didn't. We've got all the pad-popping, ball-spiking highlights plus previews from the weekend ahead.
If you breathe local sports, then Sports Week is your life source. Sports Week, catch it on Thursday nights at 7.
And then again on Friday nights at 7 on Jones Intercable TV.
All right, there you see it. If you love high school sports, don't miss Sports Week. Highlights from all high school sporting events, whatever's in season, whether it's football or badminton, we've got it on Sports Week on Jones Intercable. Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, then again at 9:30, and then once again Friday mornings at 11:30, and then Friday evenings at 7 o'clock. Bob Urzik alongside Larkin legend Ray Haley in our score. Ray's got to be happy about this. Larkin on top, 23-6, as we get ready for fourth quarter action. Stafford on the keeper. Pitches it out. Washington gets it inside the 10-yard line to about the 5, a pickup of close to 10 yards, and Stafford again showing he was either going to keep it or pitch it, and it turned out to be a nice play for Elgin.
Chris Brown made a tremendous hit there, keeping him from going in the end zone.
Brown was the last one to save the touchdown, or else Washington was going in.
They're really dangerous when they get down to where they can execute their offense. They just haven't been able to do it all ball game. And they get down, they run the option, and they're in a wishbone formation now.
Stafford on the keeper. He's going to try to get it in himself. And is he in? Yes. No, I don't think he did. I think he's right at the goal line, Ray. It's going to be good enough for the first down, though.
That was not an option. They're leading their 3 backs through the hole. They're kicking out the end, and they're trying to get in off tackle with the other 2 backs leading the play, and he's just following. That's a designed play, and there's no option to it.
Lightning quickness. He got out there in a hurry, but Larkin did a good job to save the touchdown. Again, 3 men in the backfield. Stafford takes it up himself, and I believe he's in. Yes, for the touchdown. Charles Stafford on the quarterback sneak takes it in And our score now is 23-12. Larkin on top with 11:22 to go in the ball game. So they are now down by 11 points, Ray.
They probably go for 2. That would make it 14 and be a 9-point deficit. They could touchdown and an extra point and a field goal could win it.
All right, the 2-point conversion. 3 men again in the backfield. Stafford keeping it himself. He's strung out. And does he get in? Yes, he does. Charles Stafford gets into the end zone, and he completes the 2-point conversion. Our score, 23-14 now,
That
Ray.
shows you what type of ability Charles Stafford has. He was caught about 3 or 4 yards in the backfield by the corner, and he was able to use his feet and get away from that man. He spun and tightrope down the sideline into the end zone for his 2 points. That was a beautiful play on his part.
He was strung out, and it didn't look like he was going to get there, but he beat one of the Larkin defenders into the end zone.
That makes it a 9-point game now. Conceivably, a touchdown, an extra point, and field goal can still win it, but they've got a long way to go right now.
But they do have the momentum back. Enrico LaPrairie will boot it. 23-14, 11:22 to go in the ball game. High end over end kick taken by Thomas. Goes up the middle, or he's taken down at about the 32-33 yard line. Chris Savino, one of the first tacklers in there.
I think this is a very important series of downs for Elgin High School. Ball's on the 32, 33, and they can't afford to let them have a first down. Larkin have a first down here, because they've got to get their hands on the ball at least for 2 more scores to even have a chance. And as time's eaten away with first downs by Larkin, it's going to be more and more difficult for Elgin.
Larkin's trying to make it 2 in a row in this series. They won it last year 14-7. And there's not much yardage there as Elgin's defense looks fired up. Maybe a gain of a yard or 2. They're going to spot the football at the 34. I'll call it a 2nd and 8 situation there. The football resting at the 34-yard line. Receivers out to the near and far side, I formation backfield. Chris Heiser, the fullback. Kendrick Thomas has got the football. Moves off the right side over Hornick. And he gets maybe about 3. He's getting up close to the 100-yard mark, Ray. He's up to about 95 for the game.
Well, he's a hard running back. He's swarmed by 2 or 3 players there, and he keeps his legs driving. He's still moving forward, and that's what you like to see in a back. And he's had a tremendous game.
Not only a tremendous game, but a tremendous season. Over 1,100 yards rushing. And he averages over 7 yards a clip. Awfully impressive. Rolando's got some time. It's complete to Brown. Check that. Snyder's at the 40 to the 30, down inside the 30-yard line. Rob Washington made the tackle, but Snyder got it all the way down to the 28-yard line. A big pickup there. 36-yard pickup for Jim Snyder. So a nice game for Larkin there. They've got the wind at their backs and they're threatening again. Another score here obviously would hurt Elgin very much and make it awfully a long way to go to win this ball game for the Maroons. Clock ticking, 9.5 minutes to go. Rolando on the play action. Looking for Chris Brown into the end zone, but he overthrew it. But again, that stretches the defense a little bit, Ray.
It sure did.
It's a 2nd and 10 situation now. Football on the 31-yard line. Larkin averaging almost 20 points a game scoring on the offense. However, 27 a game in the last 4 games as their offense has come to life under quarterback Mike Rolando. Rolando has learned the system. He's gotten better with the reads. Early on, he struggled. In the first 2 games, he was just 6 of 42 passing. But Coach Krieger was patient with him, and it's paid off. And a nice catch out there off the pitch from Kendrick Thomas, still on his feet. And he finally gets it down to about the 15-yard line, gets the first down, a marker down. And that just showed the tremendous talent right there.
That run, I think, is going to be negated, but I'll tell you, that was a tremendous run again. He really uses his feet. He just faked that secondary man right out of his socks, and I think that it's going to be called back for holding. But that was a great run. It wasn't a long run, but it was an excellent run, and he's just some kind of a back.
The thing that impresses me about him, Ray, is that he's so smooth. I mean, that was a bad pitch. He didn't look frazzled. He just corralled it, took it in, slid through. He reminds me a lot of Eric Dickerson. He's got the same type of style, upright type of running style, very smooth, great quickness. And Kendrick Thomas, for Larkin fans, has got to be a joy. He's got another year here.
That's right. He's got some God-given gifts. There's no question about that.
It's going to bring up a long 2nd and 15 football on the 36. Thomas this time drops the football. Ray, as soon as we give him all the accolades, he makes us look awfully bad.
Yeah.
Well, Bennington makes the tackle. It's going to be a loss of another 13 or 14.
That pitch was behind him, and he didn't find a handle on it, and Elgin was in on him, and for a great loss for him.
It's going to be lost, let's call it maybe about 13, 14 yards. It's going to bring up a long situation, close to 20 yards.
For his size, he has great speed, and he's going to make a good linebacker.
So the football at the 48-yard line in Elgin territory. However, there was a clip against Larkin, so the football is going to come back. It's going to make it even further. Just a reminder, Jones Intercable will be there for the 2nd round of the high school football playoffs beginning on Saturday.
3rd down.
3rd and 28 from the 47-yard line. I formation backfield. Rolando, a quick pass. This may be a flea flicker. It is. Here's a pass. It's caught by Thomas. What a grab by Kendrick Thomas at the 28-yard line. It's short of the first down. What a great play that was. I think that was Chris Heiser who threw the pass.
I believe it was. They threw it out in the right flat, and it was caught like a screen, and then it was thrown downfield for a good gain.
So since
but not a fourth, it's still a 4th down.
So since that pass was behind the line of scrimmage, Ray, in effect, if it was incomplete, it was really a fumble then.
Right.
So
if it was forward.
So Larkin
still gives them, even if they don't pick up this first down, it gives them excellent field.
It's caught. It's caught at the 19-yard line and a first down.
Tight end.
Tim Lickner, I believe it was. So there it is, first time they hit Tim Lickner today. They hit Rick Short earlier for the big touchdown. So the football now at the 19, and Larkin's drive continues. And that play basically broke the backs of Elgin. 7.5 minutes and counting. Larkin has another series of downs. Here's Thomas, right side. Stacked up by a few tacklers. Brian Groth, one of the first ones in there for Elgin, along with Rob Walker. Pickup of maybe a yard, if that. Clock continues to move. It'll bring up a 2nd and 9 from the 19. Elgin has to stiffen here, come up with a big play. They are down by 9 points, 2 scores. Touchdown and a field goal, or a couple of touchdowns. They need it in a hurry. And it was another penalty marker going down.
It's going to be a pass.
The play action from Rolando, it's been pretty successful tonight. That big 62-yard touchdown pass was off the play action. If you just joined us, Larkin opened the scoring with about 8.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Kendrick Thomas taking it in from the 1. That made it 7-0. But then with 2:39 left to go in the first quarter, LaBrian Carrington took a pitch, went 17 yards for the TD. But then the extra point was blocked, Ray, and that could have been one of the key plays of this ballgame.
I think it surely was, because it put him in a disadvantage. It gave Larkin the opportunity to go for 2 the next 2 times, and the decision to do that put a lot of pressure on.
Thomas on this run gets it to about the 20-yard line. Pickup of maybe 3 yards. That'll bring up a 3rd and 10. Ray, continue your thought.
Oh, continue my thought. It put a lot of pressure on Elgin when they did score, and it's made it a game that's kind of out of control. They have to score several more times when those 5 points were made, and they didn't make any. So they went for 2 of their first time, the second time that they scored, and got back to a position where that they could perhaps win it with a field goal and a touchdown.
Actually, Chris Heiser's touchdown on a 3-yarder, the 2-point extra point conversion was good, made it 15-6 at the half. Here's Rolando looking for it all. Incomplete. He was looking for Chris Brown in the corner.
He faked, pumped to Jim Snyder out in the flat, and they didn't bite on it, and then he tried to hit Brown down in the end zone on a flag pattern, and it was overthrown. Elgin's in big trouble, though, because they've got, here again, they're on their own 20, and they've got 5.5 minutes to play, and they've got to have 10 points on the board to win the game, and they've got to score quickly.
If Todd Sinko hits his field goal, Ray, it's 2 touchdowns they need to get. Here's the boot. It is up.
It looks good.
And it is good. Todd Sinko.
Well, that makes it 26-14. They've got to have 2 quick touchdowns.
That was a 38-yard field goal. A nice boot from Sinko.
I tell you, Larkin's just played a tremendous game. They haven't done many things wrong in this ball game. They've had good field position, but just good field position doesn't get it done unless you take advantage of it. And all night long, they've continued to put the pressure on Elgin by using that good field position to score when they had the opportunity, and then too, when they had good field position defensively, they've kept Elgin pretty much in their own territory. I think they've only been down in Larkin's territory a couple times, perhaps 3 at the most, and they really didn't take advantage of it when they did, other than the 2 times for the touchdown. So they played a tremendous game, and I don't think that Elgin has anything to be discouraged about. They're going to be in the playoffs, but tonight they're playing a super football team, and I think Elgin's a super team too.
They definitely are. Both teams very good. This kick will go out of bounds, and that'll be a penalty. Bring it back and kick it again. 5.5 minutes to go in the ball game. Unless Elgin strikes awfully quick, Larkin's going to win their first conference title since 1980. As our score is 26-14 with 5.5 minutes left to go. Just recapping the scoring, it was 15-6 at the half, Larkin on top, but then the big 62-yard touchdown pass from Rolando to Rick Short in the third quarter. That made it 23-6 after the 2-point conversion was good. Charles Stafford with 11:22 to go in the ball game in the fourth quarter. He ran one in from the 1-yard line. He also got the 2-point conversion for Elgin. That made it 23-14. Then Todd Sinko has just kicked a 38-yard field goal for Larkin. That has made it 26-14, which is where we stand right now. And some of the fans already heading for the exits. I assume those are Elgin fans, because Larkin's right on top here. I
wouldn't think it'd be Larkin.
No. Here's Carrington receiving the kick. And he's upended. A great tackle down there.
Tremendous play. Who was that, 26?
I believe it was... Couldn't tell
Ray
the number.
Pena.
It was Pena, sure.
Yeah.
Great quickness. We talked about it earlier.
He did a great job on that. He split the 2 blockers and went through and made a great play, because they had the picket line set up over in front of the Elgin bench, and perhaps that could have been a much better ground gainer for Elgin High School.
So Elgin has the football. They have to go to the air. Here's a pass that's complete to Ronnie Washington. He gets it up to the 29-yard line, a pickup of 6. It'll bring up a 2nd and 4. The clock is moving as it looks like Elgin is in their hurry-up 2-minute offense out there. You better hurry
well,
up.
I'll tell you, Larkin's done an excellent job in negating two of the fine halfbacks for Elgin High School, Carrington and Washington. They haven't been heard of in this ball game. It's been mostly Stafford, but those kids are great backs, and Larkin's just done an excellent job of taking their game away from them.
And Carrington made that catch, and he's down and hurt as a big tackle from Kendrick Thomas and Rick Short. And Carrington, the junior, the star out there, one of the stars on Elgin's backfield, is down hurt, and that stops the clock. We hope he's okay. Looks like he may have twisted maybe an ankle out there, but they're looking at him.
I'll tell you, Rick Short is one of the toughest hitters we've had. Last year, he was one of the better kids in the conference, and I'm sure that defensively he should be an all-conference kid this year. He is a great athlete, a great young man, and just a super football player.
Not only a super football player, you mentioned the great athlete, he's also a fantastic baseball player.
Baseball player, yeah. Right. You know, one of the things that distinguish, I think, Elgin, the city of Elgin's football, is that most of these kids on both teams have played maybe 7 or 8 years of football. They've gone through the Pee Wee football, and they've played a lot of football, and that's a credit to the younger leagues, and I think it's really paid off.
Sure has, shows tonight, as Kilgore makes the catch.
Tremendous stick there. Heiser just laid him over backwards on his back. A tremendous hit.
It's good enough for the first down. A painful 4 yards there for Jay Kilgore. Just adding to the point of you talking about how these kids play 7, 8 years of football. I mean, you can tell it. I mean, these two teams coming into the action, a record of 14-2 amongst them. Very solid teams.
Well, I'm glad to see these kids have the opportunity to play this game, and it looks like it's going to be tough to beat them now. Last year they were 5-2, and they thought that they had an opportunity to win the conference, and the strike hurt them, and they're just a real good football team, and I'm pleased to see that they're doing well. That's not to take anything away from Elgin. I saw Elgin play twice this year, and I was extremely impressed with the speed today, the quickness. I saw him play Wester Orange, Streamwood, and I just didn't know how anybody was going to beat them. They just looked that good, and it just shows you it's just very, very difficult in a league like the Upstate 8 where you've got so much. I'll wait for that thought.
So after Stafford picks up 15, here's Ronnie Washington with a big hole, still on his feet before being taken down at the 23-yard line. A pickup of 27 yards down there. And Ronnie Washington is shaken up. That's the second straight time the back has gone down, but now he gets up. It's the ankle, it looks like. There's another nice tackle down there by Chris Brown, but it looks like a twisted ankle for Washington. And one of Larkin's players is also down. So in the last couple minutes, the players have been going down like flies so far.
Well, the intensity of this game, and there may be cramps. They've been going tough for the whole ball game, and those kids never leave the field, and so you may have that toward the end of the game. But to carry on with my thought a minute ago, it's so hard to have an undefeated football season when you're in a league that's the caliber of the Upstate 8, because there's such equity up and down the league, and if you don't have a good night, you're going to get beat. And these ball clubs here came into the game with just one loss apiece, and Larkin's was in an overtime, and the Elgin team lost in a disappointing low-scoring game to Lake Park, and it's just so tough to do and to win them all. But these teams both glorified their schools, I think, in the town. They put on a tremendous exhibition of football tonight. I think they're both very well coached. Dick Stevens done a great job with Elgin, and Bob Krieger's done a super job with Larkin, and the kids. This is a great moment for them, and I'm just very pleased for both teams.
They definitely have put on a good display tonight, and hopefully in the playoffs they'll do the same starting up on Wednesday night. Both teams, both schools got to be happy back in the playoffs again.
Well, I think there's a good possibility that Larkin might be a home team. I believe the last 2 times we were in a playoff, our first game was on the road, and they take that into consideration. So that first game on a Wednesday could conceivably be Well, I think it's an excellent chance there will be one game here, but I mean, I think that perhaps Larkin might have the advantage of being home that first game.
Stafford over the middle. Nice catch out there at the 29-yard line from Scott Steinhofer. And it's a pickup of about 8 yards. So the clock continues to move, under 3 minutes to go in this ball game. Coach Dick Stevens marking out the plays, and you've gone round and round with Coach Stevens a few times, huh, Ray?
Oh, we sure have. We sure have. I tell you, we're coming to the culmination of a season, and it's just unbelievable how much work it goes into putting on a team on the field like these two coaches have. It's a 7-day-a-week job for both of them, and they work hard with kids that are dealt to them. There's no way to draft them or to get kids that don't come to your school district, and they've done a super job, and those kids work so hard. I talked to Dick Stevens and to Bob Krieger today, and they just praise the way their kids have worked both for both teams throughout the year and the attitude that they've had, and that's a good testimony to young people, and I think that these kids, win or lose, are going to learn some lessons out here tonight that normally you don't learn in the classroom.
No doubt about it. So that's going to bring up a 4th and 7 after those last 2 incomplete passes from Charles Stafford. The first one missed hooking up with Pat Lane, and this time Jay Kilgore was the intended receiver. That's going to bring up a 4th and 7 from the 30 with 2:23 left to go in this ball game. This is going to be the 6th straight victory for this Larkin team, and they've got tremendous momentum heading into the playoffs. On the other hand, Elgin will go into the playoffs losing 2 of their last 3, and Ray, does that play a big role in going in there momentum-wise?
Well, I think they've got to regroup. You know, their confidence may be shaken a little bit, but they're still an awfully good football team, and there's not... these teams know each other so well that they're scouted, and I think that both of them can do well in and Streamwood as well in the playoffs. When you have an opportunity to scout, and these kids both, they go to church together, they know each other, and they know each other's skills. In many cases, some of them may have played on the same teams in lower levels, and so it makes a difference how you play against each other. There's a lot of pride going on down there on the field. Both teams have excellent pride in their team and their school, and so they put out a little more perhaps than they will at other times.
So Larkin has the football with the clock running after Stafford was pressured into throwing the football away. And here's Thomas spinning for more yardage into Elgin territory at about the 47-yard line, a pickup of about 6. And the clock is stopped right now. It looks like Elgin takes the timeout, trying to keep whatever hopes they can alive here. It doesn't look good, though, as it looks like the Maroons will end their regular season at 7-2, while Larkin will move to 8-1 and a conference championship. That's the goal set by this Larkin team and Coach Bob Krieger coming into the season was they wanted to get a conference championship and they wanted to get in the playoffs. They have reached both of those goals. They're a minute and 41 away from reaching both of those goals. A pretty successful debut as a coach for Coach Krieger. And he's got to thank you in part a little bit, Ray. Send you a Christmas card this year after you left the program in such great shape for him.
Well, he's worked hard, and he deserves the credit for what they've done. They've done an excellent job, and I'm so pleased and proud of the kids. There's some awfully good kids there. We knew they were excellent kids, and we just are very pleased that they've had the year that they have.
And Elgin, on the other hand, they've also had a tremendous year. They started out with 6 straight wins. They've struggled a little bit. Looks like they're going to lose 2 of their last 3 heading into the playoffs. But if there's a coach out there that can turn these guys around, turn the team around in a hurry, it's Coach Dick Stevens, who's done a great job at Elgin. But it looks like his team is going to go down in defeat tonight in the battle for the town jug. There again is Thomas. He gets it to about the 41, a pickup of 6. That's going to be, I believe, another first down. And that's going to move the clock again. So the town jug will stay in Larkin's trophy cabinet there, Ray, as they won't have to move it this year, as it'll be the 2nd straight victory for the Royals.
Well, these games have gone in clusters, it seems like, and looking back over the scores, you know, you get a good bunch of kids going, and it makes it tough while they're in school. And with the inevitable change, it seems like it goes back and forth. It's not 1 year you win, 1 year you lose, 1 year you win, 1 year you lose. It's usually when you get the class, the kids win the games, and we just facilitate as coaches, trying to get them to do the best they can, and give them the scouting and scouting reports on other teams, and they do the work.
Kendrick Thomas did the work on that last run. He gained maybe a yard. It'll be a 2nd and 9 from the 40. Clock is moving at 35 seconds left to go. This may be the final play of the game. Just touching upon what you talked about, Ray, is it's been kind of a streaky series. Each team has, at certain points in the series through the 27 years, has had winning streaks of 3 and 4 games.
Right.
And now Larkin has itself a 2-game winning streak, because that's going to be the final play, as they've got a great momentum boost heading into the playoffs, which begin the first round on Wednesday, as the Town Jug stays at Larkin as they win this one 26-14 as the clock ticks down underneath 10 seconds. And the Royals celebrating on the field, and well, they should.
They played a great game.
They definitely did. More frustration for the Maroons, as they haven't been able to beat this Larkin team, the seniors that is, on any level through freshman year. The only one, Pennington, did it 2 years ago when he was a sophomore playing on the varsity. Once again, the final score, 26-14. Larkin beats Elgin. We'll be back with the postgame show shortly on Jones Intercable's Game of the Week.